It is not my goal in life to do 15 hula hoops. I enjoy watching it, and I visualize myself doing laundry as I'm sitting there doing about 15 of these hula hoops, the way they just sit there and go in and out, but I'm not practicing. So, but at the same time, when you work on someone, that might be their life goal, and that's okay. So that's another thing to consider when you touch. It's not about me, and it's not about you. And sometimes it's not even about that person, because that person doesn't even know what they're capable of. But to see a person's potential and just say, hey, but you know, if you did this, and that's why I'll say a lot, you know, oh, notice how your heels suddenly went like this. Well, you can get now in and out of a car. Because getting in and out of a car, my heel rotates and pushes me out. That energy, that movement comes all the way through. Now also, and that's another point that I want to talk about movement, as my foot does this, now let's say I did break my leg once, so I have that scar tissue there. I might have a new hip, so I have that new hip, scar tissue, blah, blah, blah here. I might have been hit really bad or had a car accident where, you know, my rib cage is here. So that's where human movement is totally different than I call it, or artificial movement, or movement of an object. Because as I go now to move here, that movement now is now going through my leg differently than anybody else in the world. Not only because I broke the leg here, but because of the hip placement and because of the way my rib cage is organized. So now I'm actually, so what if I hold my breath right here? Now I get stuck. And this is where people talk about the energies or whatever, but it's more the movement. It's just not, because it's not going through what I call the gyro correctly and through the ankles and all of this. Whether it's a pinky, a knee, or whatever, every body part affects the system, period, the end. Even if you can't see it. That's another thing. Like psoriasis, people go, oh, my skin. And I'm like, what are your intestines doing? What if it's on your heart? I mean, how is it affecting your system? I'm not saying you're going to have psoriasis of the heart, but I mean, how does that allergic response affect the rest of the system? It's got to increase inflammation. It's got to increase the way that organ functions. It just, in my mind, it just has to, or why not? Versus it can't. So I'm just more open to possibilities. And even a bad thing to me is a possibility versus someone going, oh, you're a goner. So, especially when someone says you will never be able, I have arthritis, you can't help me. That to me is like, yeah, come to my kid.